All right, guys, we're gonna get right into this clip, man. Andrew Tate jumps on the Hodge twins podcast, and there's a narrative going around that Tate has, people have really started getting at Tate's bumper after he supported or he called out for the support of, the genocide that occurred in Gaza, and is ongoing. So after he did that, he says, it's random cases have been popping up, that obviously has nothing to do with him. He hasn't been found guilty of anything yet, and he flew into Florida, and all of a sudden they hit him with another charge. They're now actively contacting people, supposed victims, to come forth, and they're really just targeting this guy. But let's get into this clip here, man. This is pretty interesting here. How this plays hand in hand. Let's get into this clip here.
It truly looks apocalyptic, and it's extremely sad. And also, I find it amazing that, like, if you're a nationalist or you're a conservative and you believe in the rights to your land and you believe in America being America, and you want to protect your land, then you should understand that other people want to protect their land.
Exactly. We push back on illegal immigration.
Yep.
What's going on in Israel? Yeah, but they say Palestine never existed. That's why I hear all the time on social media, especially on Instagram from conservatives. That place never existed.
Yeah, they're ignorant to it all, and it's a long and complicated history. But even if you don't want to go down the entire history of Palestine, Israel, this is what I was saying to Piers, because he doesn't even let you fucking talk. I was like, I haven't got time to explain history to you, but exactly like you said, this is clearly a genocide. What's happening is clearly completely inhuman. Right. Forget religion, forget any of these things. It's inhuman what they're doing to these people. Yeah. It's unacceptable what they're doing to these people. And it's also the media spin they put on it tells you a lot, because when Hamas try and fight back, it's a terror attack and it's barbaric. And when Israel fight back, it's a tactical strike.
Right.
Oh, tactical strike. That actually almost sounds like it's okay. Yeah. Have you ever seen the result of a tactical strike? Because all I see is
drone footage.
Yeah, I see buildings crushing children when we call it a tactical fucking strike. So again, it's all about the language they use and how they frame everything.
Right.
It's truly incredible. And
yeah, so another, individual who is, had a lot to say about Tate was this clown, Ben Shapiro, who advocates for violence, 24/7. And the reality of it is this guy's never popped a cherry, man. He probably even held a gun, right? So this guy's a clown advocating for violence, like massive amounts of violence, nuclear talk, when it comes to Iran. And the clown is like probably never been in a physical altercation his entire life. So this is the type of people that we have to sit here and deal with. But check Tate out addressing this, man. Shout out to Tate.
What's that beef between you and Ben Shapiro?
Oh, there's no beef with me and Ben. There's no beef with me and Ben. I don't think he's a particularly good person. I think he's a warmonger. Yeah. It's never ending.
Especially if you support what's going on in Gaza right
now. Oh yeah, his stances on Gaza were unforgivable. He is currently going broke because he lost Candace and he lost Brett Cooper, and now the Daily Wire is going into. I've heard from many sources they're about to go into administration, and they have problems with Peterson. Even Peterson and him are about to get in a legal battle.
Oh wow!
Daily Wire,
really?
Yeah, Daily Wire is completely fucked. They're completely bankrupt.
It all started with Candace.
Yeah, of course you can't get rid of her. Yeah. She was their star. And then who's the owner of the Daily Wire? He's a really he's a really interesting person. Yeah, what's his name?
Jeremy Boring.
Yeah, Mr. Boring. I'm going to start a media company.
Right.
Well, Mr. Boring's media company. Going to be a success. So you got that dipshit.
Yeah.
I think Ben's a bad person. He was super pro-vaccine, which I was ultimately against.
He was against Trump, too.
He was against Trump, and he's also a warmonger. I guess it's just somebody. I mean, I've had 87 professional fights. I've done my whole fighting my whole life. I finished retiring from fighting, and now I'm fighting against governments all across the world. I've done all of my fighting myself. And when I see somebody sitting behind a desk with a microphone calling for other people to go fight, when he's too much of a pussy to ever fight himself, I intrinsically just don't like him.
Yeah, didn't he vote for Hillary, too?
Oh, yeah. Fuck, he's a dipshit.
Yeah.
And he's constantly calling for men twice his size to go and die. You go.
Yeah.
You go fight. But of course, what do we say about short people? What do we say? He's a snake. He's a fucking snake. So I don't trust him.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. And I also think that
it sounds like y'all got a beef. I mean, Ben was one of the main people that brought me over to conservatism. Him, I'm having a brain fart. I'm having
Candace Owens, Larry Elder.
Yeah, Larry Elder. Yeah.
Well, the thing is with Ben, like he had a lot of videos that used to go viral where he'd destroy the trannies and stuff, and that was cool. But And somebody said to me, like, oh, you agree on that? Like, who doesn't agree that men shouldn't chop their dicks off? Like, fucking, I can go down to the convenience store, find a motherfucker who agrees with that. Everyone already agrees on that. But the actual important issues, it seems he's wrong every fucking time.
Yeah. And you would think he, like I see him doing videos like criticizing the LGBTQ community, trans community, but in his religion, they embrace that.
The Talmud is supposed to have 8 genders, isn't it?
Exactly. So why are you on YouTube and TikTok and doing all these videos criticizing, going viral for speaking out against these people when your religion embraces it?
Well, even then, even from a personal perspective, he has a huge problem with me because 12 years ago, I used to have a webcam studio, which I've talked about at length and explained at length, and I'll talk about again anytime because it's my history, and I'm not apologizing for anything I've ever done, ever. While he's still getting paid from APAC, which takes money from OnlyFans today.
Yeah.
So, like, he pretends he gives a shit about these things, but he's actually just super hypocritical. And I just don't like hypocrites. I don't like people who are warmongering. After October 7th, when he was saying destroy them all, kill them all, annihilate every single one, I tweeted underneath him like, bro, let's at least look for peace at least.
Right.
It's just a mark of a coward. Like, it's kind of like they say, why do pro fighters not get in street fights? Because we've seen how bad fights can go.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you've never had a fight, you think you're a tough guy because you don't know how bad fights can be.
Right.
So he's one of them, right? He's one of them who's never seen violence, never been around it, would never go near it, would piss his pants if he ever had to. Total coward, trying to talk like a tough guy, calling for violence. If he'd ever seen any, he'd know better. But he's not educated to it. So I just think he's a negative voice in the world who's calling for death and destruction. And thank fuck his voice is going broke. And him and Mr. Boring are about to lose the Daily Wire. I don't know. Like, Travel America, try and find somebody who's giving them money right now. You must be out your fucking mind. Who gives a shit what they say?
Yeah, facts, man. Like, definitely agree with the Ben Shapiro comment he made. Like, that Ben Shapiro is a little clown who was, he started spewing all this genocidal rhetoric, and then he got he fired his main star, which was Candace Owens. No one really tuned in to watch Ben Shapiro. Especially after, like, some of the rants that he went on as far as, genocide and him advocating for war with Iran and all these other people. They always want us to fight other, always trying to get other people to fight his wars and his fucking problems. Him and, the other individuals who are, it's not, just keep it PG for YouTube, but you guys know who I'm talking about, right? They're always trying to get other people to fight their fucking wars. And so Shapiro was one of those guys, and that does not mesh with MAGA or whatever, movement, everybody trying to, stray away from the deep state, from the same cycle that the people are putting us through, the past 20 years. Oh, we got to go to war with some random foreign country in the Middle East, spend trillions of dollars. There's going to be more homeless people, more people addicted to fentanyl. We have to let all these people in, and people are sick of that shit. Right? So this clown was being contradictory, and then he boots Candace Owens off his program. Dude, now he's complaining why he's wondering why his show went to shit. No one cares what the fuck he has to say anymore. He just shows up to all these random places, these random events, and people are like, oh, okay, cool, that's Ben Shapiro there. Like, no one gives a fuck. Like, all right, you're done. You know what I mean? So dude should have just kept his mouth shut and played his role as, small little Jewish kid who, is conservative and talks about, talks against, like, this woke movement. Like, just keep your fucking role, man. Now you're this clown that's advocating for boots on the ground in places that people don't even know how to pronounce. Like,